My company installed spyware to watch me work, so I used it to destroy their servers. If you have nothing to hide, you won't mind the tracker, Kevin said, leaning back in his leather chair with a smugness that made me want to throw my lukewarm coffee right into his face. He tapped his pen against the mahogany desk, a rhythmic click-click-click that sounded like a countdown. It's just about accountability, Sarah. We need to make sure our remote team is actually working. I gripped the arms of the guest chair so hard I felt the cheap plastic digging into my palms. The heat was rising in my neck, a prickly, suffocating sensation that usually preceded a scream. But I didn't scream. I just stared at him. Kevin, I said, keeping my voice dangerously level. I've been the top performer in data analytics for 3 years. I hit every deadline. You're telling me I need to install software that takes a screenshot every 10 seconds and records my webcam just to prove I'm not, what? Napping? It's company policy as of January 2nd, Kevin shrugged, dismissing my entire career with a wave of his hand. Install Productivity Enforcer by noon, or we'll have to discuss your commitment to this organization. Dismissed. I walked out of his office, my vision blurring with rage. The office was half empty, a ghost town of gray cubicles, but the remote workers, my team, were blowing up the Slack channel. Panic. Anger. Resignation. I drove home, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. It wasn't just the invasion of privacy, it was the insult. But I had a mortgage. I had student loans. I couldn't just quit. I sat down at my desk at 1 p.m. My custom-built PC, a machine I had spent $3,000 on to handle massive datasets, hummed quietly. It was a beast. It could crunch numbers that would make a laptop melt. I logged into the portal. I downloaded Productivity Enforcer. The moment I clicked install, the fans on my computer ramped up. It sounded like a jet engine preparing for takeoff in my small home office. I frowned. I opened Task Manager. The software wasn't just taking screenshots. It was running 4 separate processes. One for the camera, one for the screen, one for keystrokes, and one labeled data uplink. My CPU usage, usually hovering around 5% when idle, spiked to 45%. I tried to open Outlook. The cursor froze. It didn't glide, it jumped across the screen in jagged, agonizing leaps. I clicked the icon. Nothing happened for 10 seconds. Then, the window appeared, ghosting and flickering. I tried to type an email to IT. HELLO. The letters appeared on the screen 3 seconds after I pressed the keys. Are you kidding me? I whispered to the empty room. I checked the resource monitor again. Productivity Enforcer was now eating 80% of my CPU and 90% of my RAM. It was aggressively scanning every file I opened, encrypting the video feed in real time, and uploading it to the company server. It was malware. There was no other word for it. It was unoptimized, trash code malware wrapped in a corporate bow. I pulled out my phone, because my computer was now useless for communication, and called the IT help desk. Hey, it's Mike, the voice on the other end sounded exhausted. Mike, it's Sarah from Analytics. This new software, it's bricking my rig. I can't even open Excel. My CPU is at 100%. Yeah, Mike sighed, and I could hear him rubbing his face through the phone. I know. We told Kevin. The compression algorithm is trash. It tries to upload 4K video in real time without buffering. But he insisted. High fidelity monitoring, he said. I can't work, Mike. It takes me 5 minutes to open a PDF. I can't uninstall it, Sarah. Admin lock. If you go offline for more than 10 minutes, it flags you as AWOL and docks your pay. Kevin's orders. I hung up. I looked at the little green light next to my webcam. It stared back at me, unblinking. Kevin was watching. Or at least, his software was. I felt a cold resolve wash over me. The anger didn't leave, but it changed. It hardened. High fidelity, I muttered. Okay, Kevin. You want high fidelity? You want to see what my computer is doing every second of the day? I looked at my dual 4K monitors. I looked at my fiber optic internet connection, the one I paid extra for so I could upload terabytes of data. If the software wanted to eat data, I was going to give it a buffet. I sat back in my chair and cracked my knuckles. It was 2 p.m. The productivity enforcer worked by capturing screen activity. If the screen was static, like a Word document, the data packet was small. If the screen was moving, like a video, the data packet was massive. And since the software was trying to stream it in real time to the central server, the bandwidth usage would skyrocket. I opened Chrome. It took 30 seconds to load, the computer wheezing under the strain. I navigated to YouTube. I searched for 10-hour 4K crackling fireplace. I opened it in a new tab. I dragged that tab to my left monitor and set it to full screen. The fire crackled. The pixels danced. It was a constant, high bitrate stream of changing colors and motion. My CPU fan kicked into overdrive. The noise was deafening. Productivity Enforcer jumped to 85% CPU usage. It was frantically trying to encode the fireplace. Not enough, I whispered. I opened a second tab. 8K nature drone footage, Norway. I dragged that to the right monitor. Full screen. Now I had fire on the left, fjords on the right. Both playing in the highest definition available. My mouse was unresponsive. The cursor was gone. But I wasn't done. I used keyboard shortcuts. Ctrl+N. New window. I opened an Excel sheet. Not just any sheet. I opened the beast, a dataset with 5 million rows of dummy financial data I used for stress testing. I set up a macro to recalculate a pivot table every 3 seconds. The computer began to emanate heat. I could actually feel the temperature in the room rising. It was struggling, gasping for digital air. But the productivity enforcer was the real victim. It was programmed to prioritize its own function over everything else. It was trying to capture 2 4K video streams and a flashing Excel sheet, encrypt them, and upload them instantly to the company server. I checked my router's traffic on my phone app. Upload speed, 950 megabits per second. I was blasting nearly a gigabit of data per second straight into the company's intake server. I sat there, sipping my coffee, watching the fire crackle. I couldn't do any work, obviously. My computer was effectively a brick. But technically? I was active. The mouse jiggler I had plugged in kept the status screen. The software was running. I was compliant. At 2:30 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was a text from Jenna in accounting. Jenna, is the shared drive slow for you? Me, a little. Jenna, it's down. I can't save anything. I smiled. The company server wasn't just receiving my data. It was receiving data from everyone. But my data stream was a fire hose in a garden sprinkler system. At 3 p.m., the real bombshell dropped. My phone rang. It wasn't Mike from the help desk. It was the director of IT, a guy named Marcus who usually only spoke to people if he was firing them. Sarah. Marcus shouted. He sounded frantic. What the hell are you doing? Working, Marcus, I said, pitching my voice to sound innocent and confused. Why? Is something wrong? Your workstation ID is flagging a critical alert on the main server, he hissed. You're uploading. Jesus, Sarah, you're uploading 400 gigabytes of data in the last hour. What is on your screen? Just my usual workflow, I lied. I have some reference videos open for a project. And the financial datasets. You know how big those get. Reference videos, he screamed. The logs say you're streaming raw 4K video. Turn it off. You're melting the intake node. The compression tool can't handle the bitrate. I can't turn it off, Marcus, I said, dropping the act slightly. My computer is frozen. The productivity enforcer is using 99% of my resources. I can't even move the mouse to close the tabs. It's totally locked up. Hard reboot, he yelled. Pull the plug. I can't risk corrupting the data, Marcus. Company policy says we never hard reboot during a data transfer. Kevin was very specific about that in the memo. Screw the memo. Marcus roared. The entire VPN is crawling. The sales team can't access Salesforce. We are losing uptime. Well, I said, leaning back and putting my feet up on the desk. Maybe if I could uninstall the tracker, I could close the windows. But it's admin locked. Hold on. I heard him typing furiously. I'm trying to remote in. I can't. Your bandwidth is choking the connection. Sarah, listen to me. Walk to the wall. Pull the power cord. Now. I don't think I should do that without Kevin's approval, I said. He told me if I went offline for more than 10 minutes, I'd be fired. I really need this job, Marcus. I will fire you if you don't. Kevin outranks you on personnel issues, I countered. Get him on the line. I waited. The fire on my left monitor crackled soothingly. The Norwegian fjords on the right were breathtaking. My computer fan was making a sound like a dying vacuum cleaner. 10 minutes passed. My upload total hit 1 terabyte. My phone rang again. Conference call. Marcus and Kevin. Sarah, Kevin's voice was tight. Marcus tells me you're experiencing technical difficulties. I'm doing exactly what you asked, Kevin, I said. I installed the software. I'm working. But the software seems to be struggling to keep up with my high-intensity workflow. She's DOSing us, Kevin. Marcus interrupted. It's a denial of service attack from inside the house. Her machine is sending so much garbage data that the enforcer server is backed up. It's crashing the other agents. Nobody's data is getting through because Sarah's 4K fireplace is hogging the entire pipeline. Fireplace? Kevin asked. You're watching a fireplace? It's for ambience, I said. Helps me focus. Is there a rule against ambience? Turn it off, Kevin snapped. I told Marcus, I can't. The computer is frozen because your software is hogging the CPU. The only way to stop it is to kill the software. Fine, Kevin grunted. Marcus, kill her agent. I can't. Marcus shouted. I can't reach her machine. The pipe is clogged. I have to kill the entire deployment. Silence. Heavy, expensive silence. Do it, Kevin whispered. That means we go dark, Marcus warned. We lose all the tracking data for the whole company for today. And we have to uninstall it manually from every machine. I said do it. Kevin screamed. The sales team is down. We're losing $10,000 an hour. I watched my screen. Suddenly, the fans spun down. The lag vanished. The productivity enforcer icon in my tray disappeared. My mouse moved smoothly across the screen. I paused the fireplace video. Oh, I said into the phone. It's working now. Thanks, Marcus. I heard a click. They hung up. The next morning, at 9 a.m., a company-wide email went out. Subject, software update. Body, due to unforeseen technical limitations, the deployment of Productivity Enforcer has been rolled back effective immediately. Please restart your machines to complete the uninstallation. Remote work policies remain unchanged. I walked into the office the next week for the quarterly meeting. Kevin wouldn't look at me. He stared at his papers, his face pale. Marcus, the IT director, caught me by the coffee machine. He looked tired, but there was a glint in his eye. A 4K fireplace, he whispered, pouring sugar into his mug. And Norwegian fjords, I whispered back. You fried the motherboard on the intake server, he said, suppressing a grin. Cost them 15 grand to replace. Kevin got chewed out by the CEO for buying untested shovelware. Just working hard, I said, taking a sip of my coffee. Like he asked. So, am I the monster for costing the company thousands in hardware damages? Or did Kevin get exactly what he deserved for treating his employees like criminals?
If you have made it this far and want to see more videos like this, then kindly subscribe and turn on notifications so you may never miss another story like this.